What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Flicking with Skip. Although it's not Flicking with Skip, it's been an odd week on all of these shows. If you've been following along at the time or retroactively listening to these, this is the week that Logan got married, and he got back from his honeymoon today. Yeah, that is fantastic for him, and congratulations to Logan. So we're actually going to be postponing the Halloween episode of ranking all the kills in the Final Destination series, the current Final Destination series, as I'm sure there will be more. Yeah, into next week, and that will be our Halloween special to like cap off the end of the month. So this one instead, we're going to do a calculated story. We're going to keep working on Quokka Quokka. And I haven't looked at it since the last episode, so there's no like cheating or anything like that. One of the things that's cool that I want to point out about using a story calculator is that you can always come back at any time and pick up exactly where you left off, because you have these prompts that put you in the exact frame of mind that you were in when you were last in it. So it is it's a useful tool for that. It's quick notations that get you right back in the action and writing. If you don't know what I'm talking about because this is your first episode, welcome. I'm Skip Marazzi, your host and friend for the evening. And Generally we talk about movies on this show, but today we're going to be talking about a calculated story. This is a behind the scenes podcast for Cox in Space, an animated show that we're doing, and this is the method that we use to write the Cox in Space show. For one, it's really useful for collaboration, like when we get together and write, because it gives us all a goal to work together. I've actually written a book on it about this style of story calculator. It's called the George. You can find it. It's called Making the Moment, and you can find it at wigwags.us. It's gonna be the top thing you see there. It's called Making the Moment. It'll take you to our Shopify, and you can just check out their credit card. I think they do different styles. I think you can set up a shop, so you can break up the payments if you want to, make that more convenient for you. All those things. But So yeah, if you want to read more in depth to how to use a calculator and what you can do with it. But this one is about it actually started as a one-man show that I did based around this theme, because the George story calculators can also be performed, and that's been the experiment that I've been running and and enjoying. And the cool thing is that when I ran the show, I got to experience it, and I really enjoyed the beats of it. And but what I wanted to do was I wanted it to have a happy ending, versus the show that I did that had a negative ending. It wasn't intentional. I mean, it was intentional, but like, because you set it up at the beginning, what ending you're gonna get. Um, Start positive to end negative to have the highest amount of impact, right? Start negative to end positive to have the greatest amount of impact. There is the parabolic plot structure also, and the George has that built into it where it weaves between positive and negatives within the scenes to keep the narrative interesting. But it ends on the upswing, from a negative. Anyway, that's just a side note. But so I wanted to rewrite it so that it had the positive ending instead. And so I flipped also the themes, because it was initially, I believe, about the quokka, but it is now about the surveillance photos. So I'm gonna pull that up for you. I've been waiting for YouTube, Premiere to finish rendering so that I could close this, because I feel like I get worse audio when Premiere is open. And I don't know if that's because it's just running through different settings, but Okay. Shouting out Alex Reed for coming on our show, Dr. Alex Reed. His episode, if you're hearing this one, it is out now and you can check it out. Really intelligent guy who has some big thoughts on what it is to be human and what it is to experience life. So there's no way gotcha, of course, because we're not there. Something's broken further down the road, but I don't know what it is. I'm not going to deal with it. So that was here's the calculator. Basically, it's running off of this setup that we gave it, with the theme right here, and setting it up here. I made a minor change in the first episode of this, the calculated stories. And then I reminded you guys, that this is the only time you're going to be able to do it, because once you move past the first moment, everything is locked in. So if you find in the book, you'll find I talk a lot about this mirrored fractal structure, and it's so that it's supposed to feel natural to move through it because it feels the way that nature moves is kind of the idea behind it. But so the first scene is about the first moment in the scene, right? And you know this from if you've written anything, like what's your opening sentence to that paragraph. And so the opening sentence really should be the thing that you explore through the rest of the entire paper, in my opinion, and the thing that really that it concretes the paper, the opening paragraph, and then also the paper itself. It becomes like your anchor. Um, so you can take a look here to make that all happen. There's reasons for all these. I didn't explain like the starting point either very well. I just kind of picked those things, and I didn't really want to get into all that. But you guys can check it out in the book, and if anyone's interested, I can do like a breakdown of what those things mean. Basically, what that does is it sets it up so that we can get the structure. Um, so going back to what the structure is, if you look here, the first episode is about this. It looks like it's directed at the wrong thing for some reason. It is, in fact. This needs to be directed to this. Because they're all the same. The first episode and the first scene are the same, and they're all based off of this first moment here. See how they're all like aligned? So then everything after that supports this idea, right, of what this grumbler is doing. Now, one thing that we didn't do on the last go through was point out, really like pick what that scene is going to be about. I will sometimes, for myself, just for like clarity, um, write like a quick synopsis based off of this. What this grumbler wants, what he's physically going to do, how he gets worked into a frenzy. But also in the vein of that, like you don't have to do that because you just need to look at what you created. This right here, this story of Tony Stanza, is what this whole show is going to be about. And it's also what this whole scene is going to be about, and because it's what this first moment is about, right? So Tony Stanza, a young man of medium build, paces in the shadows outside the Philadelphia Zoo, muttering to himself. He's like, it's not right that they keep them in there. A quokka belongs in the wild. I want to make sure that they live free. The quiet parking lot doesn't respond as Tony scales the fence, but a camera high in the air above his head watches him with its unblinking eye. The young man drops into the zoo's undergrowth. The security guards move towards his location with their flashlights on. Tony belly crawls through the dirt as silently as he can towards the marsupial exhibit. He says if they didn't want to get broken into, they shouldn't have kidnapped the helpless animals and used them as slaves for entertainment. He's a crusader. His words are cut short as the guard swings his flashlight directly onto Tony's spot. The young man freezes, unable to breathe, as the guard pushes through the brush to where Tony is. Interesting. I realized as I read that I misspoke at the beginning. I did listen to the recording and then make a couple edits here in the text, so you will notice it's slightly different. But the point that I was getting at is hadn't really like planned anything because I only intended to work on it, here. So you and I are going to be finding out the story at the same time. But what we do know is that Tony stands with this grumbler, and what he wants, he's willing to get, right? And it seems to get these marsupials out, and we know that he specifically. I made sure that this is one of the edits first. Is that he doesn't say they belong in the wild, but he says a quokka belongs in the wild, and that's just to be real clear about what he wants. He's a guy who's kind of obsessed with quokkas, and he has a belief. So these are some super interesting things to work from. That's what these prompts are really for. Some people get upset about the amount of information that you get to work with. And this just doesn't have to be your method. I just find it useful because I find that when you are trying to create something, having too many ideas, in my case, can be a problem. Some people, they have clear ideas, they work them through from beginning to end, and they don't have any issue with that. And I'm jealous of those people. But when I start creating, there's so many things that could go into the soup. All of a sudden, it doesn't cost anything to put them in, and so you have so many different things in there. And this makes it so it gives you a smaller amount of infinity to work with, right? Like it's just that you get to take the pieces of these prompts and then think about where the story is and where it's going, and then apply it to the next situation. So this is we get to see in this next moment what's one of the things that's important to me personally. Apparently, this is not as much of a big issue to a whole lot of other people I have heard. But this is how you create pacing deliberately in your structure. So you see how we did like this one that's like what we're going to call the average size moment. It's about half a page, right? This is kind of what it looks like. So like you want to kind of like eyeball that and like keep it in mind. What we're going to do, this is what we're calling a five, right? Fives are just about things that are proportional to each other and don't necessarily have to be any specific size. They're in relation to the size of the overall piece. Um, if you want to read more, of course, you can check out the book, but I'll probably talk about it more later, and you'll see it more specifically here. We're going to be doing episodes of the same size. Well, I mean, this one is all going to be of the same size, but I could always do an episode that's either longer or shorter, and it'll change the length of these. They're just again, it's just about proportion. So this is a three, and so a three is about 18 seconds of screen time, and so it's about a third of a page. We have about 9 inches to work with on our page. It's about 2.7, right? So we're going to be looking here. When I first started doing this, I complained to Google that there wasn't there weren't rulers on the side. You couldn't get rulers on the side of the screen, and maybe they were there, and I just could never find the setting. Uh, but and I'm not saying that I made it happen, but shortly thereafter, there were rulers that appeared on the side of Google Docs, and I was like, thank God, because I had to like kind of just like eyeball for a little while, like the distance in these things instead of being able to like measure off the approximate like inch wise. If you keep your font consistent and your spacing consistent, then you're going to keep your pacing consistent for as how much content you're creating. This is another thing that some people are kind of bothered by, like having like a limit on how much you can create for each of these moments, right? Like this 5 is like it really needs to fit within, half a page. And the same thing with this 3. It needs to fit within the bottom portion of this page. Um, that's weird, right? I think I miscounted. So, because it's from here, let's see from there, 1, 2, 7. It should be, yes, it's there. It's right here at the bottom of the page. Um, you love it. You love it when I mutter to myself. I know. So you see, like it's just like a smaller portion of it, and it's really for me, it's like a freedom thing, because I know that I only have to create this much information, right? Like it's not like a whole blank page or like a whole like 350 page novel or whatever, like it's really just half a page right here. And it's because I have, 5 or 10 minutes while I'm waiting for something else, to work on it. Um, and then the same thing here, I could be like, oh, I just have the time just to do that short moment. That's fine. Um, Again, it puts me like right back into it. I can look back at the story that's created, and we can find out now how he's scowling, right? So we're going to work in this short section. One thing I want to point out here is because it's the first thing. This is the first time that it's happened. Is that we have a 1A and a 1B. Now this together is considered a set of these two moments together are considered a beat because it's like bump bump. And it's just to point out the thing like this mirror structure, right? That it's about cause and effect. Like the event that happens in A really needs to be make sure that something happens to it in B, right? Like if you were watching, say, a ping pong tournament or a tennis match or something like that, and the ball only went into the audience, like someone like threw it and this like served into the audience, the game wouldn't make any sense, right? And so it's the idea that whenever some action happens, it needs to have a reaction. And then same thing with 2A. It has an action, then there's a reaction. And then with this one here, we're going to zoom out real quick, just to, you'll get a bigger picture of what's going on. If you're just tuning in and trying to figure this thing out. So then you get to hear the mirror, right? The mirror, the idea of the mirror is that everything that's happened here in the first part of the scene is like a 1A, right? It's its first moment. And then everything after it is the 1B. So that has this response to everything that's happened here. So we have like an introduction and a response, an introduction and a response, an introduction and a response that kicks off a series of responses in response to what happened previously. And this is also true in the overall structure too, because you'll see that it's doing it here. 2 sets up its own pattern there and does it, and then 3 sets up a pattern where it's doing its initial call and response. But when it gets to the mirror here, right, this is a 8-beat structure, so it has actually 4 pieces in the middle that are all mirrored towards each other. When it gets to here, it kicks off the basically the 1B beat of the show for the rest of the show. And all of this is just a mirror of what happened previously. Following this idea of like from the beginning, of like this 1A and 1B, is just it's helpful to recognize it and to think about it here and now, because it's going to be the thing that we're going to continue to think about, for the rest of the time that we're using the show, that we're using the structure on the show. The interface on this operating system is tedious and annoying. So this is where we're going to find out how the grumbler is scowling. And so we do have this other option here. Like we definitely see that this guard is coming up on him. Um, so we found out what he wanted in the first moment, and now we want to find out what he expects is gonna happen. This moment is still going to be negative. It's still dealing physical. That's why he was doing all the climbing and crawling and stuff like that, is because he's physically interacting with the world. Um, we're having an inverse. Oh, yeah, I wanted it to be hyper dramatic. That's right, I forgot about that. So you'll see these moments here are very like dramatic, versus if you look over here for these minor and major changes, you'll see there are moments of calm, um, regaining strength, perseverance, which is the reverse of where we started. Speaking the truth right here is the reverse of telling the lies. Maintaining is the reverse of being controlled. So the minor changes are where he has moments of peace. What this is going to add up to is that three is an inverted scene, for instance. So it's all like about being very cool and kind, and what builds up the world. It's only punctuated by this silliness, right? And then when we get to scene five too, it's also an inverted scene because it's a major change scene, just like three is a minor change scene. And so it's gonna have a very nice ending to it, uh, because everything's inverted to be pointing in that direction. And this is what I mean about a story calculator, like using a story calculator, is that it's a very it makes it so that you know where the story is going precisely. So all you can do is relax and tell the story. We had John Abbott on, who was a coach of mine in Chicago, but also more importantly was a bartender at the main stage, IO. If you don't know the Improv Olympic in Chicago, it's where a lot of really well-known comedians for 40 years have been coming out of. Um, and so he got to watch all the shows that came through there for a good decade. He says he says he's seen about 5,000 shows in that time, and just masters from all over the country coming in, and celebrities and all sorts of fantastic performances like that. But he said that so sorry. Oh, right. The story itself is about, young improvisers are trying to rush to get the story done. And this way, you can't rush because you have a specific amount of stuff to do. And then also, it gives you enough things to do to get there. Um, One thing that is annoying to me about ideas is how thin they can be when you try to make them bigger. Um, like if you have a short story idea, but then you want to turn it into a screenplay, like there's just like so much more, and generally things get added that aren't necessarily part of the original idea. But this lets you do that too. That you can spend the amount of time that you need to spend on the story. That's the collective rambling of what that is. To sum up John's idea, is that this makes sure that you don't have to be in a rush to get there, but also you know exactly where you're going, and you can take deliberate steps to do it. Um, for those people who like to like create, and pants it, they don't have to plan out the entire story. It's already set up from the very initial moment. Um, and then you just move from that. From people who want to detail every moment first, you have the cues right there, and you can plan every scene previously, and even write little sketches for all the moments to make sure that they're doing what you want to before you actually go and write the characters and stuff like that. I kind of like to walk the balance between the two of them. I like enough structure so that I know that I can have room to play safely, and I'm not going to get too far off the track and have to erase a bunch of stuff. That for me, I hate wasting time. So that for me, like I like to go to the leisurely pace, but I don't want to have to throw away the good things that we have. So um, that's why it is. All right, that seemed like probably it was a it was a stall to try to think more about this idea. But in the spirit of it being the mirror of what happened above, we see that the guard is pushing towards him. We see that he's like unable to stop talking to himself because that's basically what's happening. So he's kind of a little bit troubled, or very much in his head that he doesn't realize that other people are not. He might believe that he's the only person who has a reality. Um, okay, and he's breaking into the Philadelphia Zoo. So, we want him to be scowling, which means he needs to be scowling at somebody. So he's definitely getting caught. He's definitely going to get pulled up. He's probably going to be the one talking about the expectations. He's going to be the one giving up. And I think the surprise is going to be he finds out that, like, he's going to imagine, like, this terrible fate, and they're just going to be like, no, just get out and don't come back or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I think he thinks he's being a warrior, but it's actually, they're just like, kid, this is the third time you've been here. You know what I mean? So let's do some. All right, so okay, what if he's like, he like Tony leaps to his feet with his hands in the air, shouting, "Don't shoot! I'm unarmed." Um, I do need to make sure that the spacing is correct on this, and I also should have marked on this guy right here. Where it's like supposed to end, and it's like 8.7. But okay, if he's like Tony leaps to his feet with his hands in the air, shouting, "Don't shoot! I'm unarmed." Uh, the guards, like two guards, grab him and drag him out of the brush. Up Tony's toes, dragging on the ground as he tries to like break himself. Resist them. Okay, guys, one thing you should know about about me is that uh, lines that are like raggedy drive me crazy. So they have to kind of have like a purpose, in my opinion, to exist the way that they do, like some sort of balance. And it's probably just all in my head, but that's why I had to keep writing that sentence, is because it stopped in a weird spot. Um, Now, remember too, we're trying to mirror the two of these, right? So, but this is a smaller moment. um, because it's a threes proportionally. But what we're trying to do is we had this like it looks like right, okay. It was like an average size moment short, and this is supposed to be half of a four, or half of a long moment. And I'm thinking, like, so it would be an eight. In a smaller one, it's probably something like a five. So it should probably keep going for another couple of lines. Um, I wanted to be putting the fuss up. You know what I'm saying? So the so he's giving up. Okay, so, you guys probably know what sundering is, but sundering for some people is a new vocab word. But it sums up this idea that you realize that other people have, everyone else in the world throughout all of history has had a complex interaction with the world that was, a moment by moment, day by day experience. And they've had like full, rich lives that you know nothing about. It's hard to put into one word. I'm glad somebody finally did sum it up. I'm not sure how new or old that word is or where it comes from. I did find it one time, but it is very useful because that's a thing that they do as part of the journey is like this idea of understanding others. Um, so, but he can also misunderstand them. Like he can understand that they have a rich world, but also make up, Okay, so Tony leaps to his feet with his hands in the air, shouting, "Don't shoot! I'm unarmed." Two guards grab him, drag him out of the brush. Tony's toes dragging on the ground as he tries to resist them. Oh, he's like, "How do you sleep at night? Knowing that you have innocent, sentient life trapped in a cage." So, oh crap. Nah, no crap. This can be the next, but that's just next sentence because that's actually if it was mirroring on a lower level, it was a five, it was an eight previously. That would make this a five, which means you have to get two and a half, um, which means it should be something like this instead, dragging. Like, so, gotcha. We don't do it like that. We do it like this. Apparently, um, Tony's toes dangling. How do you sleep at night knowing that you have innocent, sentient life trapped in a cage for children? That you have innocent, sentient lives. There we go. Trapped in cages for children's amusement. Um, and that's supposed to be the mirror of the short one. I think I could, I think I could handle that because it's like a three, so it would probably it'd be something like a two, and those three and some change. So okay. So innocent sentient animals trapped in cages for children's amusement. Tony Hall is loud. All right. So cool. Um, we want them to like. Oh, we have a little ways to go. Cool. All right. Okay, we're about halfway through, which means we start working our way back towards the beginning again. Um, but also we have the ability to write more because it looks like that it'd be three. So we have three lines here, but we still have the remaining two, which means we could probably bump up each of those with another line to redistribute. Okay, cool. So Tony just toes dragging the dirt as he tries to break himself in any way possible. And it's like the guards, however, um, like I want to say keep him aloft, but it just sounds so like to write a word, you know. I'm a writer. The guards, however, keep him aloft, you know. But it's the only set of words I can think of right now, and this is really just a rough draft, so I'm not going to break my balls too much. But future me, if it's in print at some point, you're like, God, what did I do? Why did I put it? You could look back to this moment, you're like, I didn't even want that word. So I hope it gets like, whatever, lambasted across the internet. People are like obsessed with, ending a sentence with the word aloft like that. It's a paragraph nonetheless. Um, anyway, here's me just fucking around with you, the listener, because I'm like examining the writing at the same time, just sort of talking. Um, how do you sleep at night? No, you have innocent sentient animals trapped in cages for your children's amusement. Tony yells loudly. He's like, I hope you live alone and your offspring and you die alone. Childless. Tony, yeah, Tony going for the Tony. Um, okay, I like where this is going. That's fun. This is again why for me a story calculator is just so much fun to use. And I do seriously, in all honesty, say the word fun because I get such glee from it. Because it lets you, again, you can be so anxious to try to like get down the scene before you lose it sometimes that you're not really getting to spend all the time enjoying it. And this lets you just kind of like bounce around inside the scene, like living it and then, running back and forth in this one moment until you really like that moment. For all the reasons that are listed here, which is are just helpful prompts to get you to the place of liking the moment. And then you do, and you breakthroughs like that. Because it adds a little more, right? We see that the guards, there's they know what they're doing. They're really good at it. And Tony is being a real jerk. You know, uh, I hope you live alone and you die alone, childless. But it's not the type of jerk that So that's how his scowling is being expressed. We saw that he did immediately give up. We see that he is saundering as far as like knowing about imagining their lives, I guess. And then the expectations that don't shoot, I'm unarmed. So I want to subvert the expectations because he's acting. We're assuming this is the first time, but what I want to actually show um, is that he's been here a bunch of times. So security. Like, I was trying to like pare down the casting, and I was like, "Fuck it, dude. I'm writing a story. I can cast as many people as I want to. The budget is not increasing by me putting words on the page, unless they decide to. No, that's not the. This is, dear listener. This is for you and me. This is really just for the two of us. Um, so a couple of security guards meet the pair carrying Tony at. We need to not sync that. Let's do this at the gate. Yeah. The zoos. I think it's informed. The zoo's front gate. A couple of security guards meet the pair carrying Tony. The front gate. A couple of security guards meet the pair carrying Tony, uh, and they swing. Man, this sentence is so convoluted. I don't even like it. The gates. Okay. Let's. You get the idea, right? We're gonna start at the beginning again. Um, the guards say nothing, joined by another pair who throw the gates open. Um, Another pair of guards who throw the gates open, who throw the zoo's gates, right? This, wow, that was bold. That was a bold choice. Zoo's gates open. The guards say nothing, joined by another pair of guards who throw the zoo's gates open. Uh, the first pair throwing No, 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 they're not setting. Tony down. It's cartoony to throw him for sure, but also we're doing this inversion flip, and I want them to have no reason to think that the guards are jerks to them. These are just zoo guards, and you know, I as far as like places to be security on, I'm sure that that's like a sweet deal. It's not like a bank. Nobody's trying to rob to steal the lions, right? It's just for like maintaining order. If something comes up, first aid, getting connection, kidnapping, I'm sure is probably more common than heists. Probably not a lot of shootouts at the zoo, I'm guessing. But let's do it, right? Let's have this big conclusion that has a shootout in it. The guards say nothing. Just kidding. I don't know where this is gonna end. I mean, I kind of do, but I don't. Once we get to the fifth moment, we'll know for sure. The fifth moment is the mirror of the second moment. It's the mirror of this one. No, two, three. Yeah, there it is. The fifth moment, of course, is the climax moment. So one thing you have to know about the story calculator is it's similar in some ways, in my opinion, to what No Man's Sky is. The creators made it intentionally with a specific purpose, but are incapable of exploring all of it. Or are as amateurs at exploring it as we are because it's big and there's so many possibilities. Um, and that's what I found with the story calculator also is that I it's supposed to be bigger than you can think, right? And that's the reason that I encourage people to use this device, is because my thought is that anybody, we're all very smart, but there's a limit to how much content your brain can hold at one time. And it's varies for different people, and people have different tools for doing this. For me, this is to do the thing that is bigger than your brain can conceive, so the story itself feels more real, because it doesn't feel like you're trapped inside a story. It feels like events are happening in the same chaotic manner that life does. And so the idea of using a story calculator is to make it feel more like gossip, so that it feels like a true story than like something that someone's writing for fiction, right? That's like implausible, even if it's entertaining. And so that's the purpose of it, is to give a certain level of reality to the story. Um, Gravitas is the word that's springing to mind, although I'm not sure if that exactly uh, exactly sums it up. Maybe veritas, like the idea is to give it truth, but I think that that word has probably been tainted by people who misuse the Latin to say that they're speaking truth or whatever. Um, so expectations, scowling, saundering, giving up. So the guards say nothing, joined by another pair of guards who throw the zoo's gates open, the first pair setting Tony outside the gates before turning. The guards say nothing, comma, right? Comma, is that you're saying up here? Yeah, good use of the comma there. By another pair of guards who throw the zoo's gates open, the first pair setting Tony gently setting Tony down, gently down, setting Tony gently down. I knew it was in the wrong place. I was like, no, it seems right. You guys will see how like my brain is super broken if you watch me write. Like I don't know. It's not dyslexia because the words don't move and shift or anything like that. Um, but, but sometimes, jeez. Um, so the guards say nothing, joined by another pair of guards who throw the Zeus gates open. The first pair setting Tony gently down outside the gates. Um, we've told you before, and we'll tell you again. The Quokkas. We've told you before, Tony. And we'll tell you again. And he's all like, real dramatic. The Quokkas are fine. Well, I mean, we told you before, Tony, and we'll tell you again, one guide says. We told you before, Tony, one guide says, and we'll tell you again. Oh, that might be the better spot to put it. Shaboy, the guide says, and we're telling you again. Think the Quokkas are fine. Okay, I think we have one more line and we get to, bump down to, so. He's like, please. He's also giving up, please. Please stop visiting after hours. He's calling it. So he's like, "Oh, don't shoot," and they're like, "Geez, he's back. He's back again." Um, and then they go inside. Closing the gate. Okay. Art is it's totally subjective, so maybe it's not as funny to you, but that to me it works out kind of. It satisfies all of the prompts up here, um, and it comes out. It makes it come out in an amusing way. It continues the story forward, like, okay, we saw him break in, and then we see him get broke out, basically, right? It is the correct size. You see that so you can't as much see, but you can line up. What I just did was measure the size of my fingers and see that this one's just a little bit longer, and that's kind of the idea. A five, half, and then it's like so 30 seconds and then 18 seconds is the idea with these guys. So this one is going to be the longer one because what you're doing is punctuating long scenes with short scenes and average size scenes and keeping those apart. So you have like a bit of information, a short little bit, a longer exploration, and then you go back to a short little bit. And it's mirrored at that point. As we saw here too, is the idea was to mirror this paragraph with this paragraph and this paragraph with this paragraph. Um, excuse me. So we're gonna get to the first style point right here, which is really fun. Before I get too excited about that, let me just measure off the scene. So it's 48 seconds because it should be the exact same length as this right here plus this right here because it's the fractal's being created by using a Fibonacci sequence. So that's why these look really common, right? You say there's a 3, there's a 5, there's an 8. It's because they're proportionate to each other. And so you could scale that out indefinitely, right? The Brent, which it's used for larger stories and haven't been able to use in a while, but it's a 13 base instead of an 8 base. So the largest scene is a 13 beat scene, and like the George has a 5 beat scene as its central piece. Um, I'm so sorry, that is not true. It has an 8 beat scene, which is why it's an 8. But there's 5 scenes altogether, which is why I was getting confused. So okay, here we are. So the two of these together, 48 seconds, right? Of 60. If we're looking at approximately a page per minute, it really, again, this is just to keep things proportionate to each other, and to keep the pacing the way that you want it to be. It's gonna be adjusted a little bit once you find out what your pacing is to how much content it creates. Excuse me. Because it might be a little bit different. Again, I think I mentioned I've noticed a variance. It's like variance between like 3/4 of a page to like 1.5 pages, something like that. It's kind of like what it is. So I think maybe that's why you say like a minute per page on average, which makes sense, right? Like if you say like we see the cops chasing the robber, chasing O.J. Simpson down the highway as the sun sets. We understand that that's a long period of time. That's a sequence that's going to need to be shown, and that's only one sentence, right? So I think it does vary, and this does create a pretty close approximation of that as well. So 7.2 is the answer that we got. Um, Maybe I made a reference that really didn't matter to anybody. Everyone's like, who? Like OJ. I mean, I know it was memorable at the time, but he was. I didn't even know who he was when the events were occurring, either. So it was like a little bit earlier than me, and you know, it's one of many true crime cases at this point. Shoot. Okay, we're going halvesies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Right there. Okay, so you see how much space that is. Um, Now, I did mention earlier that the format that we're writing right now is I'm breaking it. You're not supposed to be writing with this much space in a novel format. I have uh, I think it's a George of George's or a Brent, but basically, what it does is it just makes it that you focus on just a few paragraphs and lines at a time. This much space is normal for like screenplay formats because this is not that much to fill, given that lines get broken up and there's just like single actions and stuff like that. Sometimes you're using 3 lines for a sound cue. So, to fill up this space is not that. We're actually writing quite a bit of content by doing this. This is definitely longer than a page per minute, because I'm doing a novel format with a screenplay pacing. So the reason I'm babbling about this is specifically because of all this space that's here. Um, because I'm like, dang, that's quite a bit. So we do know. it's supposed to continue this pattern. And this is one of those things that the reason this, like I was looking at and relying on that was because you can break it down into that same way. You saw how it like helped us out when I was like, okay, cool, this is what we're trying to do. It's doing, so it hit a mirror here essentially, so it was a 5 3 8 right here, 3 5 is kind of the idea, and then on its scale it should be like a couple lines bigger, and it should be doing like that exact same pattern. So it should start with a 5, but it should be closer to an 8. Okay. Uh, I'm just going to outline this concept real quick. Um, so, and then, all right, of course, right. Okay, gotcha. So this should be, it should be something more like this. I don't know why that was so hard to envision without, but sometimes the noise of the brain is so much. Let me take a break real quick just to call out that this is a Cox and Space podcast. It's a behind the scenes podcast. It's not really actually, but this because this is it is a flicking the skip episode that's actually turned into a calculated stories episode. Um, but I am your host and friend Skip Morazzi here to show you some of the method that we use for Cox and Space by writing a completely original story. We're calling it Quokka Quokka, which is about a guy who was breaking into the Philadelphia Zoo and trying to free the quokkas because he believes that they're self-aware and capable of thought. So, fun adventure. I'm trying to talk through the prompts with you just so you get it. We do shows 7 nights a week. Sorry, 5 nights a week. We write the other nights. We're working on Cox and Space as a show. Um, but you can check us out at coxinspace.com, coxinspace.com, and that way you can get connected with our Facebook, talk to Aaron Cosbale, who is the professor of comedy, about coming on the show, tell them the things that you're interested in and that you would like to talk about on the show, and we're excited to talk to you about those things. You can also get connected with our Discord, so if you just want to come in and tune in to the live podcasts that we do, like I said, they're almost every night of the week. It's listed on our website. If you look under shows, Cox and Space /shows, you'll see all the guests that we have coming up and what times they're going to be happening. So you can always check in with that. And get yourself connected with that, and come check in and hang out with our guests before the show, before the podcast, and hang out with them afterwards to get to see all the things we talk about off the air. You can also get connected with our Patreon, and this is a big thing that we ask of you. Just for $5 or more a month, you can be supporting us to get the Comics in Space, as you've seen the illustration, you've heard the voice and the songs that we have, that we can get that animated. Because I know that you want to see it as much as I do. The animation moving Peter and Richard Cox, spreading happiness across the universe. Yeah, for $5 or more a month, you can help us out, and then we can entertain you. So. We appreciate all the people we have. Jomo is one of them, our longest supporter, and the highest throw in. What is that? Highest pay in of all of our supporters. So Jomo, we appreciate you, and we will get back to the show of not flicking a skip, but a calculated story. So thank you for being here with us. Earlier on this episode, no, I'm just playing like I went anywhere or did anything, right? Just took a little break with you to drink some water. I sent this little pacing up here just to give us like an approximate size for the paragraphs as if you were watching previously. And that's going to give us there's some lines. It's an approximate, right? But like basically gives us a very similar structure to what we have here. We're splitting it up, and really I should be only writing this because it should be mirroring that. So it should be something like 857.5, something like that. Um, and then that would leave that here. Okay, make sure I put that is at 7.7. Seven point. All right, and then it'll basically carry on into here. That's a really short one. So it's going to be more similar to this, but flipped. No, the same. Yeah, the same. It's the back side of that. And this is just to keep things similar but different. Um, so you have some variation on how you're presenting the same thing, right? The variation is the pattern that people don't necessarily see, that these are five threes and eights, right? And then the paragraph structure also five threes and eights, but they vary based off of what a three is and what a five is. Um, and so there's like this proportionate distance and size. And so you just keep hitting your tempo, but you give this like variation in that tempo. Um, so let's see if I can keep it up without having a deliberate structure with it, that measures all those things out intentionally, like I have set up in other models. Um, and why I'm not using that, you might ask it, and it's a really good question. I'm not sure. I made a last minute decision to do this in the novel structure, and to switch it over is going to be kind of a pain. And it's not really, but it's just time to do it, which I have less of than I want. Um, so here we are. Um, this lovable rogue um, is this style choice. It's supposed to make sure that we because remember I took it from the tramp choice. We want to make sure that yeah, he's a rough and tumble dude. He might be a little off kilter, but we still like him. Um, so make sure that we bake that into the structure of the story. So it's like an extra kind of trait, just a like style choice. Um, so we're also looking at the theme part of that he's on the surveillance photo, like where they saw him before and how they know him. Right? Um, it's that long where we've been spending a lot of time talking about, and it's about who they are, and negatively socially telling lies, and then understanding how entropy gets us all. What is up, everybody, and welcome back. Just welcome back. If you're a sharp-eyed observer, you will see that I am, in fact, um, it's not the same day as it was a second ago. From your point of view, it's actually time has passed. Quite a bit of time has passed. I got really tired and didn't feel up to doing this eight. Because they're kind of long, as you can see. I mean, it's the same length as what we just went through right above there. Um, and with this being, novel text instead of screenplay format, it's a bunch. And I looked at those numbers, I was like, ugh, don't know if I got it in me, but we're here. So, we were working through this story here, and we just entered this new phase. Now, one of the things that you should know about the numbers is that the ones is the introduction of the idea, and the twos is always the conflict against the idea, right? So it's like you introduce the force and then the opposing force, and three is where they come in conflict to each other. So it's good that it's an eight. It gives us plenty of room to do that. Um, so we have eight lines there. So we know this now is that they're a lovable rogue. It's on the surveillance photo, the evidence that we have of him being this grumbler. It's who he is on the surveillance photo. It's who he is socially, telling lies, and how entropy gets us all. Okay, so this is interesting. I don't know if I really looked at this. Maybe I said it, but it didn't really sink in. The social aspect is a part that's interesting to me because of of this. I should probably do that. And then something like that. Anyway, so this is what we know about him. We know that he's on a surveillance photo. He's a lovable rogue. Somebody's telling lies about who he is, and it's about how he keeps getting in trouble. Um, the opposition, it seems most likely, is a security guard, like an uptight security guard, who's just trying to do his job. Or like the chief of the security guards. Kind of like a Jonah Jameson kind of like boss, maybe. Um, and what about like all the security guards kind of like him, and so they don't want him to get in trouble because they're kind of like, they understand he's a kook and he's not really responsible, but it's pissing the boss off. So it's like this social problem. Okay, yeah, I think I get it. So, um, every security guard, man and woman on security detail. It's the main office. He's gonna be like, at once. It's gonna be italicized too. Hang on. And then so like, it's like, a voice barks over the zoo's loudspeakers, right? Right, because the thing is that they say please stop visiting after hours, right? Like it's like this thing that they're not even bothered that he's trying to like break in. They're just like, just stop making our jobs difficult because this guy is really after you, right? But he doesn't seem to get that. So it just seems to be a fun dynamic where like they're like for the people, but they're protecting him from the man, you know. Um, so then it's like all the guards look at each other with grim expressions as they head since it's in a novelization form, I actually should be writing this in like LaTeX so I could see what it looked like on an actual page. So this is not the final draft. This is just the draft that I would put into LaTeX to figure out what novel size it should be, um, and then clean up the lines in that way. I'd probably actually want to machine it also so that I could get the right one. This is just a rough draft, is what I'm saying. Um, and it'll probably be found ironic that this draft will become the one that people know and not like some final draft. But this is only intended as a rough draft. So, for the sheer fact of just demonstration, I'm just trying to show you what you can make up in the moment, based off of what the calculator gives you. And again, this is not something that I think about and like dream about how it's all going to work out in between these sessions. I didn't take a break so I could be like, oh no, what do I do next? As I was like planning this, I really didn't think about it. I was just really tired, so I went to bed. And then I went and did some more work, and then now I've come back to do that. So there's just, the calculator makes it possible for me to just pick up from where we are in the story and then have something to move with. Um, so anyway, that break was because my cat needed some attention, and so I was talking to you about how to use the story calculator while I petted a cat. At some point in the future, I will have a camera and you'll get to see the cats. Every man and woman on security detail report to the main office at once instead of Google thinks. Insecurity. Oh, insecurity detail. Reports. Oh no. Report to the main office at once. The voice barks from the zoo's loudspeakers. All the guards look at each other with grim expressions as they head to the front. Before heading to... Well, I need 8 lines, right? Okay. But... Okay, I'll let it dangle. Because I'm changing location, I really feel like I need to add a paragraph or something to keep it all as one thing, but I still have 8. I still have 5 lines for that one. No, we're going to follow them. They file into a small office. Like, two dozen, 2 dozen men and women, shoulder to shoulder. I just need to do this so we need to know if I'm correct. I think it doesn't have apostrophes, but yeah, that's the big question right there. Okay, so we're good. We're good. Um, Found a small office, 2 dozen men and women, shoulder to shoulder. For a small man with a bushy mustache who slaps, yeah, a cranny, black and white image on the desk. Um, Having something like the challenge of doing 8 lines gives you the ability to do fun things like that. You're like, oh, it's time because I'm in an 8 and I have 8 lines to get descriptive and build the world, because you have that space. And then you don't have to do it all the time. Like previously, right, we needed him to get in there and get it done. We needed guys to get him out of the zoo, right? And now we have this moment where we get to like build what's happening. Um, and now I know that we have that space. It's a nice thing about the pacing, because as an audience member, it's nice to have different things, but then as a writer, it's also nice to have different amount of space, because you get like confined, we have to squeeze, and then you get the room to write a lot, and then you get moments that feel nice. Um, it's something that you don't notice when it's done right, and it's more freeing than it is constraining. If that's a concern that you have in listening to any of these, um, I don't want there walkthroughs of how to write with the calculator. Um, so we have a little bit more space because it's like six lines there. So we have like two more lines when this one's done. So he's like he's here. We have evidence that he's broken the perimeter. This Weasley little dude. He speaks like an accountant, or like a rules lawyer if you play like any like tabletop games. You see, it says here in the manual. Oh, dude, like, come on, it's having fun. We have evidence that he's broken that he's breached the perimeter. The little man shouts. It's like, why isn't he here? Yeah, where is he? Um, so we do want these guys on his side, because I think it's amusing. It's amusing to do that. That's why we're doing it. And I don't know if there's anything I've learned from any number of teachers that I've had, it's that if you're gonna be entertaining, you first if you're a person who enjoys comedy and consumes comedy, and it amuses you, then you should be doing things that amuse you because at least it'll be amusing to the type of people who find stuff that you find amusing to be amusing. If that wasn't confusing. But you know what I mean. So like, then you have to learn how to do that. It's not like it just comes to you all of a sudden. This is after years of practicing how to do it, um, and then thinking about it for a long period of time, and then constructing. If you're wondering, this story calculator took like a decade and a half to like really get a good grip on. Um, so if you're like, why don't I get it? It's give yourself like 5 or 10 years. At least you have somebody explaining it to you. I don't know. Hopefully, I've done a better job to shorten the amount of time that it takes for you. Um, I think that I mentioned you can find the book at wigwags.us. If I haven't, that's where you can find the book. This rest of this or on Reddit and our story calculators. Um, I'd try to explain it as best I can there, and then this is a further explanation for both of those resources. Um, so let's have the telling lies part. Um, it's like um, one of the guards, a large black man. That's even yes, like yeah, you're like go, do it. Uh, it seems more fun. Do you not should it be Asian? An Asian woman? I don't know. I think black seems fun. Oh no, it should be like a Filipino woman. Yeah, yeah, it should be a Filipino woman. Is that how you? Oh yeah, just like that, except for capitalizing. Yeah, okay, my bad, my bad. Uh, she like pipes up, so you get five for this one, right? Um, uh, I don't know, boss. He just got away. And she's like, he's the slippery one. Very smart. Very, very fast. All of the other guards are in agreement. Their boss fuming. Um, I've got to just because it's a new person talking. But I have two lines that are still owed approximately. Um, because as you saw in the previous when we worked on the previous moments, when I got to the end and still had space, I kind of like bumped it out so it still kind of stayed proportionate. Um, this is a really rough. This is not the way that I'd recommend doing it. I don't know why I decided to like free ball, in a demonstration of it. I should, keep all the variables safe, but I don't know. I guess I'm kind of addicted to adrenaline, I guess is what it is. I'm an improviser. It's fun to have something that's slightly outside of your control. So if it annoys you, I do apologize for that being the way that I am. I hope that it amuses other people like it does me. So, because you need a little creative spark that comes from chaos. That's what makes things go. didn't, didn't you know that? So he's like, so the intruder activated the main gate themselves. He's gonna do this so we can recognize it's him. It's gonna be all like themselves. It's like the mustache man. Yes. Why did it let me get away with it before? Huh. Maybe it's if I do this. Whoa, okay, yo, I could look it up. Comment below if you prefer mustache with the OU or mustache with the U. I didn't realize that I was spelling it with all the grandiosity that OU has. He's like, so the intruder activated the main gate themselves? Needs to be a question. The mustached man yells at them. Oh, no, it does not. It's yep, the mustached man yells at them. They all nod, and all the guards nod solemnly. Solemn, solemnly. The mustache man yells at them, and all the guards nod solemnly. Um, that's fun. That's real fun. In my opinion. Maybe y'all like, God, he's dumb. I'm turning this shit off. But also to the people who are like, oh geez, this story is silly. Hang in there. Let's keep seeing where it goes. Because I don't know. I'm just following the prompts. And it looks like for this moment we're gonna get to flesh all these things out because my estimation was way too small. Because I'm gonna add 8 more lines, but 8 more lines is only gonna fill up to the 7 mark, which means we'll have another like inch, which means bumping each of these out a little bit. So I'm excited. That'll be fun. Um, but let's lay out the rough, and then we'll go in and read details some of the stuff. So we have 7.5 is like the main goal. Um, so we need this to turn like bad, right? We need this to turn bad. We find out we think these guards are really like on his side, but it's got to be like bad. This pressure, right? You see that we put in the lovable rogue style. That's what's like kind of like flavoring this moment. That's why the guards are on his side, is because they don't seem to really mind that he breaks in because he's not really hurting anybody, and I'm sure they have a laugh about it. They're just like, dude, stop. Like, just come see him during the day. Because I think that's what we're going to see. I think we're going to see that him visit the walk cage and then talking to them and him like giving them a notice, like, dude, you got to cut it out. Um, so we'll see. Again, I don't know. I don't know. That's just kind of I'm theorizing. And the show that I did that this is based off of had that scene in it, where he was trying to reason with the security guards while the Quokka was being adorable and cute. Um, so I think that's gonna there's probably a way I can tie that back into it. Um, so activating the main gate themselves, the mustache man yells at them, and all the guards nod solemnly. Um, so okay, I'm gonna check that box just so that we have that checked. And then nice, yeah, actually that whole this in the Quokka thing might happen in the next moment. So I'm excited. It's just gonna be a short one, and then we hit the climax of the first scene, so that will be cool. Also, um, we'll probably have enough time to finish this one and maybe start that one. Start that response one to this. So it's like the little man stands, coming around his desk, and all the guards shrink back to, to make room for him. In the tally office. All right. He steps even closer to them, making them squish pushing them into uncomfortably into each other. He steps in close to them, squishing them uncomfortably into each other as he leans in to whisper, "If it happens again." None of you will be working here any longer. You are only required by law as something to stop you're only here because the law requires a wild animal has. So stupid. Hang on, I'm leading up to it. Here's the idea, though, is that they're they're meant as cannon fodder for if a lion escapes. You only hear because the law requires um, someone to stand between. This is utter bullshit. I think this is part of the telling lies part. But also helps play into the entropy gets this all thing. And that's probably why they don't care about this job, is like they just show up and like, if an animal escaped, they're definitely gonna run, but they have to say that they're not gonna run. It's like the emergency row seating people. You're like, yeah, I'll help everyone else off the plane. You're like, fuck no. As a famous comic said, I don't know. For me, like if it's like that I was there and there were a bunch of people who were like, help, I'd be like, let's do this. I guess. I mean, either we're all gonna die together or live together. If we do live together, I don't want to be remembered as the asshole who didn't help everyone else off the plane. So there you go. You can always guilt me into helping you if you need a hand. Probably. Unless I physically can't do it or I don't want to. So, um, that could be the case. Private DM me if you want to figure out which one it is, I guess. So, hey, there you go. I'm glad I can be super helpful in the situation. The little man stands, coming around his desk, and all the guards shrink to make room for him. He steps even closer to them, squishing them uncomfortably into each other as he leans in to whisper, comma, not a period. Leans into whisper means he goes, and then some words come out of nowhere. If it happens again, none of you will be working here any longer. You're only here because the law requires someone to stand between the public and a rampaging animal. No, it's not the law. It's the because our insurance company requires someone to stand between the public and a rampaging animal. Since your cost of living is insignificant. Oh my God, no, since we already have you. Since we already have you insured. we Oh my God, this is so fucked up. Hang on, it's gotten even worse. All right. Uh, since we already have your lives insured, is this 7.5? Where am I at? One, two, three, four, five, six. I've got to wrap it up. Um, since we already have your lives insured, uh, it's better for us if you really can't. No. Okay. I just want to talk about how this operating system is so creepy that there's so many ways to quickly hide your screen. I just don't. What does that say about their users? Um, I haven't said that before, maybe. If I have, I still believe it's true. It's weird. Since we already have your lives insured, it's better for us all. If you really can't outrun anything. Sorry. I can find people like you. I can find tons of bodies for your uniforms. Damn, that's so fucking cold. This guy, I hate this guy. I don't hate, yeah, see, this is the thing. Like, the guy who's breaking in, we were kind of like, oh, naughty. What a naughty dude. This guy's a dick. And that's why now I'm in support of the guy who's breaking in. And I'm sure you can understand why the security guards are as well. So I thought I was going to be able to finish this, and I'm kind of on a plan where I thought I was to hit that amount of words, but as you can see, it's not quite the same here. And so the amount is this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Kind of like to leave that gap at the end, 6 then, which means each of them gets 2 more to keep it proportional. And that's probably not how you keep it proportional, is it? Yeah, I can see the comments being like, no, since it's 8, 5, 7.5, you should add them proportionally to those. And you are correct. And that's a pain. Um, 2 is easier, but you could also work out in 6 how to group it. 1, it would just be 1, 2, 3, because that'd be the grouping you could do in 3 groups for different sizes. So those are about the same. So the first and the last would get approximately 2, 2.5. Wait. So obviously the middle one gets 1, and the second one gets 2.5, and the third one also, yeah. So 2.5, 2.5. Okay, good. Um, yeah. Okay, so let's do the one in the middle. It's here we had 5, and I think it's this one here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These guys. So you get to add 1 more. Let's see, it's like, okay, so let's have another dude who's over here, who's on the side. Not Filipino. What about, like, yeah, a little, like goateed Mexican. Says, I think it's a hacker. And he's like, I think he's a hacker, boss. Inside job. Oh, geez. No, that not gonna fit. It'll probably just be edited anyway, but um, what are these like .com? It's a stupid one. I don't think that's where it came in. But, I want to keep it. Give this the one extra line. Like, what does it even mean? .com? It's just dumb, is what it is. Okay. Uh, which is the type of joke that I like to make. So that's why I'm not complaining. But also, it's dumb. Dumb. It's hyphenated. I mean, it's apostrophe to be shortened. It's gonna be edited out probably, but it makes me laugh now. So here's the first paragraph. Every man and woman on security detail report to the main office at once. A voice barks over the zoo's loudspeaker. The zoo's loudspeakers. Oh, you know what I want to add to this one? Same thing I added there. More characters. More of these. The voices of these security guards. Because see how it's like the voice of the people? I didn't realize that I wanted to do that. But you see, it's a large Filipino woman here. And then it's a goateed Mexican here. And one of the things I'd love to do, or like at least want to do if I don't do it, but like it's just that diversity, right? That there's all these different people who work here, and that's probably why they don't see him as a threat as much as this little man does, who has no ethnicity. He's just a mustached middle management little man. Um, I'm sure everyone knows this guy, so he needs no particular name or even an identity beyond his mustache and his smallness. So, what you gotta do? We're gonna have it here, so they fell in a small office. Oh, that's why I was pausing because it's right here. 2.5, which means that this is gonna be broken up by some dialogue. So like a thin, dark-skinned black man. Oh, wait, he's a. Oh yeah, that's what we're describing there, right? Thin, dark-skinned black man, Filipino woman, goateed Mexican. Oh, goateed insinuates gender. That's fancy. Okay. A thin, dark-skinned black man. It's a Mongolian guard. Mongol. Gotcha, Mongolian guard. It's like, why'd y'all? Let him go. Was Didn't the captain say hold him? Oh wow, that's that. I mean, he's like the first man clears. Nah, nah. I just want this. Let who go? Like this. Yeah. The first man asks. And Dark Man walks with Mongolian guard. Why'd y'all let him go? Didn't the captain say. There you go. The other man asks. That way it could be either one. Did you want it to be? Um, so there's the 2.5. So that's fun. And then the little man stands. Ooh, right. Actually, weird. How is that weird? That's right about the space right there. Because that's, yeah. So it's a little out of balance. That this was just a guide, but I wish I was keeping closer track of it. It is helpful. Grimly look grimly at each other. Before heading to the front. Okay, so we'll make it kind of like that. Where's that at? That gives the space at 2. No. Okay. Every man and woman on security detail report to the main office at once, a voice barks over the zoo's loudspeakers. All the guards look grimly at each other before heading to the front. A thin, dark-skinned black man walks with the Mongolian guard. Why'd you all let him go? Didn't the captain say hold him? Let who go? The other man asks. They file into a small office. 24 men and women, shoulder to shoulder before a small man with a bushy mustache who slaps a grainy black and white image on his desk. He's here. We have evidence that he's breached the perimeter, the little man shouts. Where is he? Why isn't he here in handcuffs? One of the guards, a large Filipino woman, pipes up. Oh, damn it. I don't know, boss. He just got away. He's a slippery one. Very fast. And all the other guards murmur in agreement, their boss fuming. So the intruder activated the main gate themselves. The mustache man yells at them, and all the guards nod solemnly. A goateed Mexican says, I think it's a hacker, boss. Dot calmed. The little man stands, coming around his desk, and all the guards shrink back to make room for him. He steps even closer to them, squishing them uncomfortably into each other as he leans in to whisper, if it happens again, none of you will be working here any longer. You are only employed by employees because our insurance company requires someone to stand between the public and our possibly rampaging animals. Since we already have your lives insured, it's better for us if you really can't outrun anything. I can find a ton of bodies for your uniforms to fill your uniforms. Okay, so we want this to be here, and this is kind of gonna wrap us up. But we need to get just these 2 extra lines right there. That was that extra voice in the middle, so it's right here. The little man stands, coming around his desk, and all the guards shrink to make room for him. He steps even closer to them. Of bodies to fill your uniforms.
if you, it's like really out, if you can't outrun anything. Um, and then he's gonna yell this. Dismissed. Damn, this is cold. The guards look at each other and file out of the office in silence. Um, damn.
I want to give him hope, but it's also supposed to be a negative. Um, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plus 2, 8, 9. Yep. I could put a little bit of extra here to kind of fill that out. It doesn't need it. That line is filled because it's only supposed to be a partial. But it could be like, you are dismissed.
It's like you are. He's gonna do the yelling thing. Dismissed. Go boink, and then be like dismissed. Boom. The guards. I don't look at each other. As they file out of the office, in silence, one by one. I want it to be because the door is narrow. They're all squeezed in and out, so they have to be like it like takes. It's just like awkward silence. Um, as they all like go through the door. I'm trying to make that image happen. So the guards don't look at each other as they file out of the office, like one by one. They file out of the office in silence. They file out of the office one by one. They file out of the office in silence one by one. They file out in silence one by one. Is the extra words. The guards. Their faces grim as they fall out. File out of the office one by one. Because the whole like solemnness thing is now spelled out. It doesn't need to be an extra layer of that. He steps even closer to them, squishing them uncomfortably into each other as he leans in to whisper, "If it happens again, none of you will be working here any longer. You're only my employees because our insurance company requires someone to stand between the public and our possibly rampaging animals. Since we already have your lives insured, it's better for us if you can't outrun anything. You can find a ton of bodies to fill your uniforms. You are dismissed." And the guards don't look at each other. Their faces grim as they file out of the office one by one. Okay, so there you go. That's an 8. As you see, an 8 took me an hour with the cat petting and over explanation to do that. But I'm happy with it though. I wasn't really expecting all the voices of all the guards, but I think that's funny how they all came about. The meeting of the big bad, so to speak, of the Philadelphia Zoo, this mustache man, I think is funny. It's a good time for it. I was saying like this is where you meet the opposing force. We've met our opposing force, I think, fairly. We're going to see how that relates to how the Quokka is being handled in the next moment. which might be this weekend. It might be a little while from now, but as always, the calculator is set up. It's ready to go. And you just taking out one box at a time, and you just keep making it happen as you keep showing up. So thank you for being here and listening to this. I hope that it's been educational. If you have questions or comments, of course, put them below or message me. You can find all of our info, all of my info, specifically at coxandspace.com, under the you'll see it. It's in the contact section. You'll see a picture of me or my name or something. It's something, but you can check it out there. You can message me on any of the socials that you find there. This is behind the scenes for Cox in Space, so coxinspace.com if you want to check it out. You can also find my book specifically at wigwags.us and other wigwags if you're interested in that. So check that out, and we will see you soon in the next one. Please take care of yourselves, and see you later. Bye.